Hello there. It's time for Most Things Kenobi.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, LeeAnn.
And I'm your host, LeeAnn.
And this week, we're going back to Andor.
Yeah, we have to. It's necessary. My head is still blown right off my neck from episode 6, so, you know.
She's still searching for it somewhere in her living room.
Somewhere, yeah, this is just the phantom head of mine that's speaking right now. That's weird. Why did I say
Phantom
that?
Menace head.
Yeah, oh, God.
It's too early for this shit for you.
Well, we're not just talking about episode 6, we're talking about episode 5, too.
Yes, yeah, because we did 4 by itself, and then 5 and 6 were just so damn good. So damn good.
5 was the build-up, and 6 was the explosion.
Yeah. Oh my God. So accurate.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was gasping, and I literally went, oh my God, during episode 6. And I was sitting alone in the middle of the night, wrapped in a blanket on my couch, like screeching.
I was so nervous and fidgety and like constant nerves, like
yes,
just constant nervous because of the anticipation that they built up.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it expertly.
They did. I was shaking. I was sitting in my blanket, trembling from nerves, because I just didn't know what was going to happen, which I love about this show.
I love. Yeah, and not only that, but it was probably one of the most visually stunning things I've ever seen on TV, period.
Yeah, same.
Just period. End of statement. It was a work of art.
It is. Filming on location makes all the difference. It makes a difference even in the performance, which seems like it might not, but you can't hide it when you're standing in the Scottish Highlands freezing your ass off, and that's part of your performance. You know, like it's really cool. And speaking of that, one of our patrons, Adam, pointed out, and I did a little research on this, that they actually chose to film in the Scottish Highlands on purpose. They filmed in a location. It was called Glentilt Park in northern Perthshire, and it's a national park, or it's near a national park, something like that. And it is where Scottish people were driven out of their homes back in the ancient times, like in old England, when the Brits went up there and forced them out of their homes, which is what...
Well, that's perfectly in line with what's happening.
Yeah, and with
the cultural aspect of these episodes and this part of the story, which I absolutely love. I loved the part of the pilgrims, if you were coming to to see the stars or comets or whatever
this thing is.
That beautiful light show. The cosmic eye of beauty. It was amazing.
And I just love the care that the filmmakers, showrunners, whatever you want to call it. They're like
filmmakers.
Yeah, seriously.
This shit's like a film.
These are single movies, each one. And like the fact that they wanted to film in a location that represented the story they were telling, because it matters to them to represent that. I just love that. It's so the opposite of what we get from Hollywood most of the time.
True.
It's really refreshing.
Nobody has to do this, but they did it.
Right.
And I think it's important. I like that they did it.
Yeah, I agree. It's meaningful. It adds layers of meaning to something. That's why it's art. It's like the thing that elevates it to art instead of just entertainment, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely art, and it's definitely entertaining in a way that I wasn't expecting. I am pulled in by the drama of it, meaning the high stakes. You know, you're rooting for these people. You're rooting for these groups of, you know, these rebels that are kind of just beginning. And I'm talking not just the boots on the ground, but the people behind the scenes funding it and caring about it, such as LeeAnn, who is actually afraid, shaking, hands are shaking in episode 5 for this group of people. He cares that much.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's listening in on the old radio or, you know, trying to tap in and hear how things are going or if everything is okay. And finally, his assistant just had to say, you know, you got to step away or you're going to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
And his performance is so perfect in the fact that you can see how he's like a nervous father.
Yeah.
I just want to hear one thing to know. I just want to know they're okay. Is everyone all right? Is everything going? And I don't think it's because he's afraid of being caught. I think he's afraid of losing these people.
Well, especially Vel is his daughter, which
could be.
That
would add a whole new layer.
Yeah. That'd be crazy.
Oh, I was scared for her and the other woman on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were, first of all, in episode 6, we're going to be jumping around, so just hold on to your seats, please. They are fucking badass. Mm-hmm. They take no shit. They kick ass and take names, and the way that Cinta, like, dealt with the captives, holy shit, she fucking freaked me out.
I know. Stone cold.
I would take orders from her any day. Like, yes, ma'am, yes, I will.
Whatever
yes,
you say.
Of course, I'll be quiet. Yes.
I loved that moment where Vel said to the commander of the... I don't remember everyone's names either, because it takes me a while to remember names, even in real life. But
oh, sure.
The guy, the like lead commander who's kind of like heavyset with the mustache, and they need his hand to open the vault. When he says, "You'll just kill us anyway," and she said, "Because that's what you would do, right?"
Yeah, exactly.
I loved that moment. It was so cool.
Perfect point. Well done. And go ahead.
We're both so excited.
I know, it's so good.
I thought it was interesting that they added that she was like nervous before.
Oh, you read my mind. I wanted to talk about that. Because that's a turning point. Mm-hmm. Once she jumps over that ledge and calls it, her and all of their lives are on borrowed time.
Yes.
Either this works or it doesn't. And I would be exactly like that. She's literally jumping off a ledge, physically and metaphorically.
Yeah. Oh, so true. Oh, it's so smart.
It's so good. I felt that. Like, it's cool to, like, plan and prepare and get, you know, in each other's faces and do you trust us? And then when you're standing on the ledge with seconds to go, your stomach is going to bottom out.
Yeah.
Because you've reached the point where it becomes desperately scary.
And you just have to trust your training.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
That's it. But then, of course, we see her build the confidence once she takes that leap. She's in it. Then she starts manhandling people and throwing that rifle around. And man, did I love it.
She was in charge. It was fucking great.
And I didn't think they were going to have the Empire dude help them carry the credits. Like, they put him to work.
The man had a heart attack in the middle of everything.
He was sweaty as fuck, and I was like, God damn, he's not cut out for this. And then he keeled over.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, yep.
Yeah. So many moments of tension in there. Like, you could see there was that one guard that they had to take an extra minute to shove him down, and then he is the one who tried to kill Cassian later.
Yeah.
And then that was
tense.
That was so tense. And then I can never pronounce his name right. Is it Nimic? The young kid. I can't remember
the young kid.
Which is everybody's favorite, and I'm an asshole and can't remember his name. But
he was like the spiritual one.
Yeah.
The one who had the true belief, but he didn't die in vain.
Oh, it was awful.
The way they made him hang on to, like, finish the job.
Yeah.
And he struggled through it and then died. That was very painful.
People have been posting the parallels of him screaming to Cassian, climb, the same way K2 was screaming to him to climb in Rogue One. And I was, my heart died.
I didn't know this, and now I wasn't prepared for this, and you're right, and I don't like how I feel right now.
I'm sorry. Deep breathing. Yeah.
That's very sad, but it's very, oh God, oh my God.
This show is so, it's so poignant and so ruthless to the viewers in a way, because they're just hitting you with the Rogue One parallels constantly in a way that's so beautiful and sad and moving all at the same time.
I'm very sad right now. That made me very sad. It's not your fault. It's just I never made the connection.
Sorry.
And that hurts, but that's why we like Star Wars. This whole side of Star Wars has been really fun. Mm-hmm. And it's so different than what we're used to. And yet, I really like it because we're getting the normal person's point of view in all of this.
Yeah.
And I hate to say normal, but you know what I mean.
Not a Jedi.
Not a gifted Jedi. Yeah. Not a Skywalker. Not any kind of Yoda. Not any kind of Mandalorian. And I'm not knocking those people. They are fixtures in the galaxy. But none of that worked without the people that we're now seeing in this show. And I think they're executing it just brilliantly. Because we saw in episode 5, and you and I talked about it, the pissing match between Cassian and what's the guy's name? Skeen, yes. Mm-hmm. Where tensions get real high and he goes to cut the Kyber necklace off.
Yes.
And you said it best. That could have been a pissing match in any other show where two men go at it and someone has to calm them down. But instead, it was emotional and vulnerable, and it culminated in something that wasn't the typical thing that we'd see.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You said it best. And now I'm struggling to remember how you phrased it, but you phrased it the best. That scene was on point.
Just the way, like you said, it could have turned into this typical confrontation. And instead, Cassian turned it into, it's like he's so perceptive that he saw it for what it really was. It's not hackles up, pissing contest. It's this guy looking for an excuse to back out because he's afraid. And
yeah, and look what we ended up finding out in episode 6.
Man, was that crazy. But I
fucking good.
I loved when Cassian said, of course I'm afraid. Fear is not the same as losing your nerve.
Yes. Yes. And I want that on a sticker.
Me too.
Because holy shit, if that didn't drive home for me.
Same. And
you can be scared.
Yes.
It's normal to be scared. But it's not the same thing as losing your nerve, which Cassian was afraid, but he didn't lose his nerve.
And that's not something most of us are born with. That's something we learn.
Yeah. Right.
And he's constantly reassuring this group of people. So what has happened to him?
Oh, we're going to find out. The flashbacks are still coming.
I really hope so.
There's a plan here of how they're unraveling this. And I think we're getting all of these questions now because we're seeing more. And I think they'll be wrapped up in what we end up finding out what happened back on his home planet with his group of children.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Abandoned children, orphans.
What? Yeah, we don't even know.
Whatever you would call them.
Well, and he says in episode 5, he has that other conversation with Skeen where they're talking, he recognizes prison tattoos on Skeen. Mm-hmm. And he says he was sent to prison when he was 13 years old.
Yeah.
And he was there for 3 years, and then he was released. Was it Mimbam or whatever? I can never pronounce too many M's, and it's hard for me to pronounce.
Yeah, it's true.
But it's where Solo starts, where Han Solo is fighting.
Yes.
That's where Cassian was sent.
Which is really interesting because I was going to bring up a comparison. The scene with Cassian and Skeen when the whole thing's over and the kid's getting worked on to see if they can save him. Mm-hmm. And Vel is in there with him. And they're outside. And Cassian just wants his money and he's ready to leave. Mm-hmm. And then there's Skeen, right? To me, hear me out. Both of them exuded qualities that we saw in Han Solo.
Yes.
They just want their money and they want to leave. And they don't want to get caught up, okay? But Cassian ended up having Han Solo's loyalty, or we're going to see him have the loyalty because we know where this goes. And Skeen was what could have been if Han Solo did peace out.
Yep.
So it was kind of, I was looking at it like, oh, okay. The obvious thing is that Han just wanted out. He wanted paid. He was delivering Obi-Wan and Luke. That was it. But then he made a choice to stay because who said to him, oh, all you cared about was payment or something? Was it Luke or Leia or all of them? Or... and then he leaves, but then he comes back.
Yeah, because that's what you're best at, right? Isn't that what Luke says?
Yes. So, like, I thought it was interesting in that scene. I was getting vibes of, like, Han Solo's choice, and what he chose in the end was the loyalty, and it's not about the payment, which obviously we're going to see Cassian go through.
Yeah. Totally.
But I thought it was shit that Skeen was skeevy. Skeen was skeevy.
When he said he didn't have a brother, I was like, you fucking bastard. Like, even I cared about your stupid brother. It doesn't exist. Oh.
Nope.
And when he said to Cassian, I recognized you right off the bat. You know, you and I are the same kind of people. We crawl over each other to get out of the mud, you know? And the look on Cassian's face as... And then Nimic said something to him as well. Like, you have no beliefs. Like, you don't even have anything. It's why you sleep so well in the morning. And Cassian said, well, you're half right. And he said it was something about the Empire, but I think it's because Cassian has beliefs about stuff. And he has a code of honor, so to speak. But he hides it because you can't have that around the Empire. It makes you weak.
Sure. Yeah.
So I just thought that... watching his face change as Skeen was talking to him, if you watch like Diego Luna's micro expressions,
he's fucking amazing.
It's like a twitch at the corner of his mouth. That's it. It's crazy.
He's on another level. He was disgusted by it, and almost like, how dare you lump me in the same group as you?
Yeah.
And I think Skeen was just hoping Cassian was like him, because he needed someone to help him get out of there.
Yeah, because he doesn't know how to fly the thing.
So Skeen was wrong. And that was that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there was something else I was going to say about that. Oh, I love one of our patrons said that she was watching the show with her husband, and she was like, he said, Cassian's the kind of guy to shoot first and ask questions later. It's so true, because he has already shot people. He like makes his decision really quickly.
Yes. I'm okay with that.
Well, it's interesting. It's actually kind of interesting because he knows right away when he's backed into a corner and there's one way out of it.
Yeah, what he's got to do.
Yeah.
And it's just best if he doesn't dwell on it. He just goes for it.
Yeah. And again, like, where the fuck does that come from?
Right.
Prison, probably, but...
Well, maybe it was a survival thing at first on that planet, and then it became another type of survival thing. Could be. Things can morph.
That's a really good point.
We haven't talked about Cyril in his cereal scene.
His little blue...
Say that 5 times fast.
I can't even say his name once.
Did anyone think it was interesting that his little bowl of Cocoa Puffs looked like little planets?
Yeah. Well, you know that's going to be for sale at the Disney parks now.
Absolutely. 100%. Right next to the blue milk station. Because they have a blue milk and a green milk station, so.
I would order that.
Hey, side note, did you know that Her Universe is having kiosks in malls across the United States now?
No.
For a limited time only.
Really?
Yeah, I just saw it on Twitter.
Good to know. I haven't been to a mall for like 10 years.
True. But they may sell the cereal. No, I'm just kidding. I guess what I'm saying is if the cereal pops up, I won't be surprised.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I wonder what it tastes like.
Well, I need to know the answer to who the fuck his uncle is.
Yes, I can't wait. He's got to be okay. I can't say that for sure, but I'm wondering.
Yes.
Is he like a mobster, and is he gonna put like mobsters after Cassian? Like,
I had the strange theory that his uncle is the old white dude in the round room at the Empire place, you know, where what's her name with the bun is located.
The ISB guy. Yeah, well,
Yeah, the ISB. I was like, wouldn't that be some shit? Because
be fucking awesome.
I have a feeling Cyril and what's her name, Deirdre, are gonna come together at some point. That's my gut feeling.
That it makes sense because they're kind of going after the same thing with the same tenacity. Honestly,
Well, she's on to something.
she's
Don't know
great.
what her motives are yet. Yes, I love her. She's an actress who uses her eyes a lot.
And like the
her
look
mouth.
of disgust in
Yeah.
her mouth when she was talking about the rebels
Yeah.
was so good.
She's really good at that.
Yeah.
She's really good at this this character that she plays.
Yeah, she's
But I
kind of...
want to know more. I'm dying to know more.
Me too. And she has her assistant or whatever who's very loyal to her and like encouraging her to continue with her train of thought even when her boss tells her not to. And then, did you see she took pills?
Yes, I need those. I don't know what they are, but I need them.
They're probably some sort of stimulant so she could keep working through the night.
Yes, I need a dozen.
That was cool.
Disney? Listen, Disney, if you're going to
Disney
sell the cereal, you need to sell the caffeine pills. Because, listen, I'm a shift worker and I need that shit.
The last thing we need from Disney is medication.
Well, that's true. Okay, all right, let me back this up. In theory, if such a thing existed from some company, I would buy a case there.
Star Wars brand stimulation.
Do you need to be Mon Mothma and host a dinner party and be to a rebellion by 8?
Oh my god.
Take 2 of these with water and an empty stomach and you'll be jazzing to go.
You'll be casting shade on your shit husband in no time.
She has a fucking daughter.
A shit daughter also. Oh my god.
Damn. Who knew that Mon Mothma had a whole mess of a family?
That honestly just made my heart sink. That
is
hard
depressing.
to watch.
That's such a woman. I mean, I guess it shows that every person has baggage stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing's perfect.
That was just so shitty.
Shit.
I was so mad at her
Yeah.
daughter. I was just like, I'm going to yank your stupid braids off your head. You respect Mon Mothma.
You will, because everyone does except you, you little brat. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Her name is Leedra, which is, if you remove the D, her name is Leia.
Oh, dear.
So stop being a dick, and you'll be Leia. Or not.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Leia's got her own level of asshole, but we love her for it.
Yeah, that's just the Skywalker in her.
That actress, though, who plays her daughter, she's from the Christopher Robin movie with Ewan McGregor.
Oh.
I didn't put it together right away. I was like, I know this person, but she was like a little kid in that movie, and now she's more grown up, which is why I didn't like connect it right away.
That.
She's so good at being bratty. It was heartbreaking.
Oh.
But can we please go back to Cyril? Because I love his mother.
His mother. His mother is something, isn't she?
Oh my God. And that performance, I felt it in my bones. She's Mrs. Fig from Harry Potter.
She absolutely is. And we haven't forgotten that. But she has a very distinct voice.
Yes.
And a very distinct manner of presenting herself. And
Yes.
she is very effective as the overbearing mother.
Her dialogue performance was very unexpected. She doesn't deliver a single line the way a status quo performance would be.
Yeah.
She would take her vowels and go up with them in a spot I never expected. She was just, her performance is really engaging to me, and I'm gonna love to hate her.
And I need to know where his dad is. Like, what's happening there? Because we only see the mother.
Yeah.
And no one else in the house.
And what's the debt from Uncle Hugo, or what's his name?
I don't something with an H, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. There was one moment too.
Uncle Harlo. Uncle Harlo.
That's it. So there was one moment that I didn't catch the first time I saw it because I was too busy looking at Cyril's face. And he's sitting in his bedroom. It might even be the scene where he's got the hologram of Cassian. But he's sitting in his bedroom and he's looking out the window. And the sun crosses his face and disappears. And it's like the amount of sunlight they get in their apartment is for like 10 seconds total.
Yeah, it does seem like a dark apartment.
It was such an interesting moment, like to show him, and he almost looked like he was gonna cry. It was so odd, but I love it. I don't know where this is going, but it feels like it can go nowhere good.
Well, it's depressing for a reason.
Yeah.
I just don't know how severe is he going to become, if at all.
I think you said it before that like a desperate person is a dangerous person.
Yeah. Someone who has nothing to lose loses nothing.
Yeah.
So he's at his potential rock bottom.
Yeah.
And his mother's got a sharp, shrewd eye on him.
Yes.
So let's say Uncle Harlo pulls through for whatever manner. Mm-hmm. I have the feeling that Cyril is going to be posing as another role that he can't do. He's like the definition of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Although he is an imposter, he can't do anything. Imposter syndrome implies that you do have what it takes, but you feel like you don't. Yeah. Well, he doesn't have what it takes.
And he feels like he does.
Yeah, so maybe not the definition, but the reversal. This is interesting.
Yes, what would that even be called?
I don't know.
Well,
a poser.
Yes, yeah. Accurate.
So I think he's going to go into another posing role.
I imagine that he is the kind of person who's going to get himself in over his head real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
he doesn't learn.
Unless it's the opposite, where whoever this person is recognizes that his strength is his smarminess, that maybe he could be some sort of mole or used as a means to an end, even as a patsy. That's speaking of.
Yes.
Good segue. Okay. I think they're kind of using Cassian as a patsy.
Okay.
I'll be interested to see where this goes in the next episode, because Vel said Andor goes out first. So she switched places with him so that he's in the point position, which means you're in the most, he is expendable.
Yes.
And so, like, if you're going to get shot, the first person out the door usually is that. So they move him into that position. And then later, she hands him Nimic's manifesto. Mm-hmm. Which at first, everyone's like, oh, that's really meaningful. But is it, so in case he gets caught, he's the one to be blamed?
Oh, sure.
Because he looks like the fanatic with a manifesto.
True.
So I'm very interested to see. Maybe it won't turn out to be that at all. But I think he is also starting to feel the awareness of that, which is why he shot Skeen. Because it's like...
Well, shit, yeah.
He's been put on point to get killed first. Then Skeen tempts him to steal the money, which for all we know, maybe Skeen was lying.
Could have been.
It could have been.
Could have been.
And then they hand him a manifesto, even when he's like, I want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting and a little bit suspicious. And I think that's why he went in there at gunpoint and was like, I'm taking my money and I'm peacing out because you all are trying to set me up. Maybe he was getting that suspicion. I don't know. That was the suspicion I started to feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to see where this manifesto goes, because you sent me pictures that someone sent you, a patron, right?
Yeah, Charlotte.
That the manifesto is in his fucking pocket in Rogue One.
It looks like
his jacket. Yeah. So, really, what does all of this mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there's like a little, it looks like the same exact shape and size, and it has a leather cord wrapped around it, stuck to the outside of Cassian's blue parka. Mm-hmm. And if you look at it close, it's a metal box, but that doesn't mean that like the manifesto is not inside the metal box. It looks identical. Mm-hmm. And so like, if it is actually a deeply meaningful thing, if it's showing up in Rogue One, that's fucking crazy to me.
Well, the escape scene of them and the TIE fighters flying through that cosmic show.
Oh my God, amazing.
I was one part absolutely astounded by how beautiful it was. And another part on the seat of my fucking, on the edge of my seat. Mm-hmm. Not on the seat of my edge. On the edge of my seat. Because it was so intense. And Cassian had to trust. And it was hard for me to trust.
Yes.
Because look at that shit they were flying through. It was gorgeous, but it was deadly. And like, they made it.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see how without the kids' help, they wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
Not even with Cassian's flying abilities.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
So maybe he does keep it as a reminder.
Right.
Like his first real reminder.
Well, he makes that executive decision, like, we're going for the doctor. Like, that's not even a question.
That's true, yes.
So.
Yep. Yeah.
I did like the little things they added when he's like, what did you give him? Have you looked out the window? We can't fly through this. Like,
yeah.
And the TIE fighters were so cool, LeeAnn.
Oh, amazing. When I was telling you, when they were getting into the TIE fighters and strapping in, it was so very original Star Wars to me because they always show the pilots getting in.
Yep.
And like gearing up, and I was just like, "Oh God, this is so Star Wars, and I fucking love it."
And they're like turning the little dial switch on the edge of the thing, like Vader does. And I was, yeah, I was loving it.
Yeah. I'll never tire of seeing a TIE fighter or one of their pilots. It's one of those things that's like distinctly Star Wars.
It's very
like
special.
from day one.
If I ever got to be in Star Wars in that costume, I'd freak out. I would never want to take it off. I take so many selfies.
Oh yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
Oh my God.
It's just so damn cool.
It's so good.
You know what's interesting is that I guess the show goes in 3-episode arcs. Mm-hmm. So we have come to the conclusion of this set of 3 episodes. Mm-hmm. And I believe it was Tony Gilroy that said that, Tony Gilroy says that episode 7 deviates from what we've seen so far in the way that it's structured.
Yeah.
So I'm curious and intrigued.
I hope it's still about Cassian, because the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, though I enjoy where they just went way the fuck off course to talk about Luke Skywalker, it is kind of like...
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
Everyone was kind of like, hey, remember how this show was called Book of Boba Fett? Where was
Correct.
he? I hope that they don't go off course in a way that was like, doesn't involve Cassian at all. Because even though we have 6 episodes left, I'm like, please don't waste our time.
I know. Well... Maybe they'll hit on the closing scene we get in episode 6 was the best. It was LeeAnn practically dancing, celebrating that everything went well.
Yeah.
And I felt that. I was just like, I was so happy for him because he was so nervous.
That was so great. And to have that person in his waiting room or whatever say, do you have anything from Eldani? I was like,
I know.
Even my heart stopped for a second.
Yeah. Like, what does he mean by that?
It's just that it shows like the constant paranoia and pressure they must live under. But that was great. Stellan Skarsgård is so good. I really am enjoying him.
Oh my God, he's just wonderful. I love him already.
Yeah.
I know he's probably not going to make it because we never see him again in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that's got to mean something, but yeah. Maybe the deviation in the upcoming episode or episodes will be the introduction of one Saw Gerrera.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that's right, because there's scenes
They
of
got to
him.
wrap him into it. They got to wrap him into this.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
But maybe not. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I wonder if Cassian will go home. I feel like he must, because they did that one scene where they showed the Empire kind of installing that guy
Yes.
on
Yes.
Ferrix, and
Yeah, they were using that building as an office space, basically.
and he wanted to be made prefect, whatever that means, because that's kind of like a newer term, unless they've used it in books and graphic
They've
novels.
used it in Harry Potter.
Right. That's what I kept thinking. It's like a prefect, or prefect is head boy or head girl, right? Or is that different?
Any of various high officials or magistrates of differing functions and ranks in ancient Rome. That's definition 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, a chief officer or chief magistrate. Or number 3, a student monitor in a usually private school.
Okay, so he's basically, by those definitions, is like an independent person to wield power.
Yeah, like, do I have free reign to do whatever I want on this planet? Yes or no?
Yeah, like he can make the laws, make up his own laws as he wants, do whatever he wants with impunity. So
Seems like an Empire thing.
yeah, that sounds about right. So why show that guy if it's not going to have something to do with Cassian at some point?
Oh, I think it will.
I hope he comes back and saves Marva and takes her somewhere secret and hides her.
And the droid.
Yes, the droid.
Little emo.
Little emo, so he can be more emo somewhere safe and sound for the rest of their days. Okay, so this week, let us know what your favorite part of Andor episode 5 and 6, either or, all together, whatever. Tell us what you loved about this awesome show.
Join us next week. We have a special episode. Lauren sat down with Jenny Marie Studios, our dear friend Jenny, who is an incredible artist and makes some of the most unique and spectacular Star Wars and other genres, I guess the other fandom type of art, on candle votives. And she's incredibly well-spoken, very knowledgeable in the fandom and other fandoms, and she's just a joy.
She is.
And Lauren gets to interview her and talk about the art, her love of Star Wars, and everything in between. So please join us. We love to honor our artists in this fandom world that we live in.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Most Things Kenobi podcast. We appreciate every single one of our patrons and are grateful for your support. If you'd like to support the podcast and become a patron as well, head over to the Most Things Kenobi Patreon. As always, you can follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. And don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. If you enjoy our podcast, feel free to rate us on Spotify and Apple. And if you need just one place to find all of this, head over to mostthingskenobi.com.
So until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.